everyone, thanks for tuning in. I've got Charlie here helping me with another falconry video. Today I wanted to go over some of the equipment that is essential in flying and training our raptors. So the first piece of equipment I want to talk about is, of course, your falconry glove. These gloves are very thick leather. They're reinforced in the area where the bird will be sitting. They're not sitting up on your arm. They're sitting out on your hand where you'd have the most control over the equipment on their feet that I'm going to explain about in a few minutes here. It's got a clip on it. I have a million things clipped to it right now for various reasons, but there's usually a leash clipped to this. This clip is broken. There's different kinds of clips. Some of these I use, this is broken, I need to replace it though. Some of these I use out in the field if I'm flying her free. Some of them aren't particularly safe for that, so I would just use them moving her around or not at all in the case of this one, because this doesn't even close. I'm sorry about that. You can put one on each foot, and again I'm going to explain what straps she's got there. So you can use it to attach the bird to the glove, attach the bird to another piece of equipment. Right now she has the clips, one clip attached to both of her feet, and I have the other end of it. Sometimes these can break off, so it's always best to have a good hold on her. We're in an enclosed room right now, so I'm not as worried about it, but you can always hold on to the leash. The leather gloves really do a good job of gripping, so you can't really pull it through if you're gripping hard enough. This is also important if you have food in your glove that you're offering to the bird. You don't want them to be able to take it and fly off with it. So the fingers, the dexterity is a little difficult, but we do oil these and grease these and prep the leather so that they're as supple as possible. There are gloves that come in different colors. There are gloves that go all the way up past your elbow if you're dealing with an enormous bird like an eagle. There's half cuff gloves that are about half the length of this one if you're dealing with a very small raptor, but it is a must have for falconry. Mine is on my left hand. I am right-handed. This is what I would use to maneuver with the bird, grab stuff out of my falconry bag, which is where I keep food and some equipment. So it's on my left hand, and that's standard. They do make right-handed gloves, or you can make your own. I have not yet made a glove on my own, but this is one of mine. The next thing I'm going to talk about is called jesses and anklets. So around both of Charlie's feet, she's a little reactive, so I'm not going to get super close here. I'll record this up closer to her later on when she's a little more relaxed. So she has a leather strap around her ankle, and then another strap that goes through a hole in that one and can be attached to the clip. So what's on her leg is called an anklet. Okay, it's got two holes on the side that will then meet up once they're wrapped around the leg and secured, which I'm not going to show you one-handed. And then you put her jesses, which is a leather strap with a knot on one end. These are specially made. You can make them yourself. It's not that difficult, but you have to know how to wound up the knot on the bottom or top, because obviously you don't want it to go all the way through the hole that you've got in the anklet on the bird's leg. So the anklets typically stay on. You can remove them if you're out in the field. Anything, if you're flying a bird through trees that could possibly get stuck on a branch, is not great. But the anklets, I usually leave them on. I know a lot of falconers leave them on when they're flying free. It's also a personal preference whether we leave the jesses on while they're flying free. Most jesses will have a hole in the ends. All right, so I carefully rearranged things so I could have two hands to show you this equipment. Again, the anklet is a leather strap with two grommets on the ends for holes. You pull it through. You have to have the right size of these for your raptor. Red tails aren't the largest falconry bird, period, but they're one of the largest. Yeah. In the end, you're going to have the grommets on one side and the bird's leg through the other, okay? The jesses, which can be as long as you want, as are appropriate for the bird that you've got, will then feed through the anklets, and the knot will catch on the other side. Some of the jesses, these are easy to make, so you can put whatever slit or hole in them that you want. Some of them will have a hole in the ends. Some of them, because you're flying in the field and you don't want anything to snag on a branch, will be solid all the way through. You can still get them through your glove and hold on to them. The other thing you can do is leave the jess on the bird, but put a piece of tape over the hole, just to prevent any, accidents. The jesses, like I said, are going to be the length and appropriate size for your bird. When you start out in falconry, in my state, you can only get 3 different types of raptors for your first bird. One of them is a kestrel, which is a very small falcon. So because I wasn't sure what was going to happen, I got some kestrel jesses ready, as well as some red tail jesses. You can see, hopefully, you can see the difference in size and length for these. Eagle jesses are even longer, they're huge. But these have just been sitting around, I haven't had a kestrel. But again, the leather needs to be taken care of, oiled, greased, whatever. So those jesses, I leave them on her all the time when she's in her area. And just take them off to oil them or replace them as needed. Same with the anklets, they stay on her. I make sure there's no irritation underneath on her legs. That way though, she's ready to be clipped to my glove and moved around at any point. You can get, this is kangaroo leather. You can get pieces of leather of different materials to make your own jesses or whatever equipment you're comfortable making. They do make nylon jesses if you don't want to use leather. I mean, this is a predatory animal, so predatory things are kind of on par with this sport. So if anybody's upset by the leather, it's being used for a good cause, I guess. And this, like I said, this is kangaroo leather. I know nothing about kangaroo farming or anything like that, but this is what's one of the safest materials is for raptors. They do make some nylon jesses. I don't know anyone that uses them. I think there are some disadvantages to them, but falconers tend to use what their previous teachers or current teachers use themselves. So my 2 friends now and supervisors at some point in my falconry game use leather, so do I. Clips, you can clip either to both jesses with then a swivel that can get tied, or clipped again to your glove. So you can split them up with a swivel to clip to both feet, 2 clips, or you can just use one clip and kind of make sure the jesses are threaded in there, the hole in the jess. So you can just clip through the hole in the jess. I have a video up of how I lost Charlie for a month. It was crazy, but what happened was that the jess had, I guess, been too worn or too weathered, and she flew to the end of the line, and this hole just broke the whole bottom of the jess, and she just kept going. That's what I think happens. Depending on what animal you're hunting, that animal is going to fight back in some level. When you're dealing with prey like a squirrel, if you think about a squirrel's teeth, it's Squirrels are very strong and their skin is very thick. So if a bird takes out a squirrel, there's a danger to the bird that the squirrel could turn around and bite the bird on a leg. I've never used these before, but there are chaps for birds. So these go on like an anklet, and it's a piece of leather to protect the animal's leg in case something like a squirrel turns around and bites the animal. Now, if it's an experienced bird, it grabs it behind the head so it can't really like turn. But it's always a little dicey. If you're hunting animals that are strong, there's always a possibility that that can become a threat to the bird. So this exists. I might talk about chaps once in a while, I don't know. But I wanted to show it to you in the equipment video. And the last thing in this video I want to talk about are bells. So when you're releasing a raptor that you've trained and spent countless hours dealing with and working with and developing a relationship with ish. Again, a relationship between me and a raptor is not the same thing as me and a cat or me and a dog. This animal will bite me if she so chooses. She's not tame. They will turn to their wild instincts immediately, which is what she did when she got loose, unfortunately. So when I say bond, I don't mean that this animal cares about me. She recognizes me, she tolerates me. That's about as emotional as it gets. It's not the same kind of bond. It's not a, I will return to you loyally. No. She will fly away if I'm not really careful and put in the work to help her, encourage her to come back. But one of the things we use when we're releasing a bird to fly free, we can attach to their anklets. Lately, there's leather straps that you can use, but most of the people I work with just use a zip tie. You can attach a bell to her anklet. Okay, this, if you hear this, you know where your bird is. We typically don't fly the birds free until the leaves are down from the trees, so it's a lot easier to see them. However, sometimes they fly out of sight and they're camouflaged pretty well for in the trees. So we're going to use every avenue we can think of to try and get the bird back. Okay, so one of these is that we attach a bell to them. That way we can maybe see them, we can hear them. So there's different size bells, there's different pitched bells. Sometimes people will put a different pitched bell on each leg so that they can tell which leg is working or maybe on the prey. I put these on her during hunting season when she's really keen to go, just in case. It also helps me understand where she's at in her cage. Falconers call it something else. So it's just another useful tool that we use to try to ensure our birds get back. Now, I don't have any telemetry equipment, okay? We can't put a GPS dot on these birds. There's no low jacking raptors, okay? I believe there is some kind of microchip, but I don't know much about it. But typically, it's just a receiver that some people put around the bird's neck, and the receiver's on their back, so it's not bothering them. Some people put it on their leg. So there's a responder on the bird themselves, and then you have a receiver that will go off if it's pointed in the direction of the bird. It's not an exact locator. We spend a lot of time training these animals and working diligently to try and encourage them to return. It's still not 100%, unfortunately, but if they go out of sight, some people have telemetry that they will attach to the bird and then have a receiver that can pick up at least what direction they go in. Sometimes if they take prey down, they may take it in a tree line that's way ahead of you, and then by the time you get up there, they're camouflaged. So telemetry can help, the bells can help. We also can listen to other animals in the area if all of a sudden a bunch of birds just go away, or all of the deer in a herd are suddenly looking over here, or a bunch of blue jays start screaming. It's likely that your bird is probably in that area. that's a way you can tell for wild animals as well. Like if there's a hawk in the area, you'll hear other animals behaving in certain ways. There is another piece of equipment that can be very important. That is a hood for the raptor, but I'm going to talk about that in another video. Thanks for watching. So please keep in mind, if you can hear me over her, that her nails need trimming. I'm going to be doing that very soon, but I forgot to film close up of her anklets and jesses. So her leg actually goes up all the way to here, I think. Yep. Oh, there's a good demonstration. Sorry. Just stay please. You're okay. She wants more food. We just fed her though. I just fed her. Alright, so here's her Jess. It stays on her anklet. She likes to pull them out sometimes, so that one has a zip tie on it. The one with the wonky leg. Again, she's fine. I have a whole video about what's wrong with her leg. But those are her anklets and Jess's. And her screaming. It comes off they're little decks. I think that's all I have to say about that. That are kind of about half of the width, or I don't know how you're gonna see this. I'm gonna clip her to the thing here so I can actually talk. It's like, are they rodents? Note to self, look up if squirrels are rodents. Squirrels have rodent teeth, those two, fluffy bunny. With strong animals, if you're hunting. I think that's it. We can't taste or smell them. We can't touch them if they're in trees. You are so cute. And there's a GPS. There's a radar. Is it radar? Is she watching my hands a little bit? I'm cold. Are you cold? I'm cold. You alright? Can I touch you? Ooh, they could use a trim. Her beak's a little long.